Okay, now let's take a look at practice problem number 2 here. Okay, so this one is different, right? The first practice problem was basically what the employee sees on his or her paycheck. This one covers the journal entry that businesses have to make for payroll taxes that many employees are not even aware of. Okay, so this is where the state unemployment taxes, where the federal unemployment tax comes into play here. And so many of these are not even known to employees. This is one of the expenses that businesses have that are not shown up on the employee's paycheck or pay stub. Okay, so first of all, here we got all sports publishing. They say that 630 was subject to the 6% Social Security tax and 700,000 was subject to the 1.5% Medicare tax. Okay, so no caps to think about here. It's a relatively easy problem compared to some of your homework because this you don't have to deal with caps. They just tell you flat out what the numbers are. So first thing to think about is just go very straightforward. 630,000, okay, is actually multiplied by 6%. So I simply do this, and that's going to be the actual payroll costs for this whole company for this period for the Social Security tax. So 37.8 is what I get when I do this. So there's one journal entry I'm going to need. The other one is 700,000. So I just go 700K times 1.5%. Now be careful, if you move the decimal 3 places, you get 0.015. Okay, so that's 6%. This is 1.5% over here. Multiply these out, and this one I get 10,500 if my math is correct. Okay. Please message me if you do see an error with the math, but I don't think there is one there. Okay, so we figured those two out. Now we got to figure out SUTA and FUTA. State unemployment at 4.3%, federal unemployment at 0.8%. Now it gives us the amount again. I don't have to go look this up because it tells me this much. 15,000 was subject to those two taxes. Okay, so here we go. 15,000. I just do the straight math. Let's do FUTA first because that's what's going to show up in our journal entry first. Typically is 0.8%. I move the decimal twice. I actually get 0.008. Okay, be very careful with your decimal. Make sure the numbers make sense. Okay, so when I do the math here, I get $120. That's what we have to kick into the federal unemployment tax fund. Those monies go to pay for people who get laid off, okay, and collect unemployment. So 4.3% is the next one for state unemployment tax. Notice it's bigger, but the dollar amount is the same, at least the dollar amount that we apply the rate to. So 0.043 is that rate there. When I multiply this out, I get $645. So there are my two amounts for SUTA and FUTA. Okay. FUTA and SUTA. Now, the last part of the problem says journalize the entry. Okay, so I got to write a journal entry here, and let's remember what this looks like. Okay, first of all, I'm going to start with payroll tax expense. Okay, this should be one of your choices on the pull down menu. Okay, not always easy in a paper and pencil test, but hopefully you figure out what that is. And I don't know what that is right now, so we got to come back to that. That's going to be a debit, so I'm going to give myself, well, just understand that's a debit, so I'll try to write it over here to the left. Okay, let's just make a clean line here. Okay, now if I keep going here, I need to figure out what those are here. So first of all, I've got 37.8, I've got 10.5, and let's not forget what those journal entries were. This was for your FICA, your federal tax for Social Security. Okay, forgot the dollar amount already. Oh, 37.8. Okay, so this would be a credit, 37.8. I'm a little bit out of room, but this is set off to the right. This is my credit column over here. A little bit of messy writing. Okay, then I have FICA with Medicare. So they call it OASDI, old age something disability insurance. I forget what the S is for. But anyway, 10,500 here. Remember, we calculated that from up here, right there. Okay, a little bit of messy writing again, but then the other two are FUTA and SUTA, and so I just put in FUTA, which we said right up here was 120. All right, that was only 0.8%. It should be less than the SUTA, state unemployment tax. So if our numbers don't make sense, then we better fix that. But anyway, they do, because this one up here for SUTA What is 645? So there's my four numbers. Okay, how do I find the total expense up here? Well, obviously debits have to equal credits. I simply add all these numbers up. 1, 2, 3, 4. You add them up, and I got 49065. That's what I got. So again, my writing is messy on this online tool I'm using to capture all this, but there's your journal entry right there. Okay, hope that makes sense, and there you go.